Derby County find themselves with a huge transfer update in regards to Lewis Travis and right back Max Johnston, as Derby County put in another bid and will not be changing their evaluation on another. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how these deals do work out across the course of the next couple of weeks before the transfer window does close. In terms of Max Johnston, Derby County have made their third bid for the Sturm Graz right back. This deal is led to believe to be worth £2 million with improved add-ons for that Scottish international fullback. And in regards of Lewis Travis, it came out during Radio Derby's podcast that the bid is still in and won't be getting removed, and it will not be being changed, and Derby County will not be paying over the odds in order to sign the Blackburn captain. Now we're going to talk about all of that as well as Koki Saito in this video. Now if you have not done so already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and while you're at it, why don't you check out NordVPN, CD keys and kit bag for everything that you need linked down below. Now shall we get into it? Now let's start off with Max Johnston, because this is a move that has been sort of plaguing Derby County across the course of the last couple of weeks, and it was one I felt as if Derby County was sort of in the position to miss out on, if I'm completely honest. And it certainly isn't necessarily one that I think is necessarily that important. It's obviously important to get the deal done. It's important if John Eustace wants him to make sure he's in the building. But for me, I don't necessarily think it's a move that is sort of like a priority for me. You look at the right back position, you've got Wilson, Ward, Niambi, Sanderson can play out there, Langas, Nelson, Rooney, all of those players can play in that right back position. You even look at a player like Isaac Gordon, Freddie Turley, who could step up if needs be. And for me, as much as I think Max Johnston is a great player, it's one of those where you've got to be very, very careful. Now, he did score at the weekend for Sturm Graz as they went on to win. I believe it was 3-1 in that game. And for me, I do believe that if Derby County want this deal done, they've gone the absolute right way about it. Obviously, we had two bids rejected early doors. One was at £1.4 million, one was 1.6. But this is like the third or fourth right back option that we've actually like made an offer for. Obviously, if you go back to bang smack at the start of the transfer window, we made an offer for Cody Drammer. If you look then a few weeks later, you had Paul Valentin. Then you obviously had the introduction of Callum Britton, and then obviously finally we've ended up on Max Johnston. Now Max Johnston at 21 years old still has a lot of room to develop. He's got that European experience, he's won divisions, and that's obviously really important. He's made obviously a senior debut for Scotland as well, and the bid that has been put in, rumoured to be worth around £2 million with improved add-ons on the previous bid, I think is a very, very smart bid for me. I think it's one which makes a lot of sense for Derby County as they sort of move forward. And I think he's 21 years old at the end of the day. He's got another 10, 15 years in professional football, injury dependent. So for me, I think that's a very good move for Derby, and it gives us the opportunity where Kane Wilson doesn't hold all the cards in that right back position, and it gives us the opportunity that we can sort of move on to pastures new if needs be, and if Derby County don't feel as if Kane Wilson's offer that he wants is right, because we have had that discussion on this channel about Kane Wilson potentially leaving, and obviously the rumours that came out at the start of the transfer window suggesting that his demands from his agent and himself were way above board for Derby County, and I think this is a good move for Derby if that does happen to be the case. He's 3 or 4 years younger than Wilson, and he's obviously sort of heading in that right direction in my personal opinion. Now on to the next one that we're going to talk about, which is Lewis Travis. Now Derby County obviously made a bid a couple of weeks ago. I believe it was worth around £1.5 million, obviously with add-ons and things like that. And Derby's media, BBC Radio Derby, are led to believe that that offer is still on the table and we aren't looking at budging in terms of fee or anything like that. The player wants to come, and the player is out of contract next year. And I think it's really important that when we look at a deal like this, it's that Derby County don't get caught in sort of the crossfire of a club wanting to sort of maximise on a player who, at the end of the day, has sort of made it clear that he probably will move on at the end of his contract. And I think that's what's very important as we sort of move forward on this. Now, I am led to believe, based on what I've read and things like that, that Blackburn are wanting around £3 million. I believe Liverpool get a percentage of any fee that they do earn for Lewis Travis, because obviously Lewis Travis came through at Liverpool before moving to Blackburn. But it's one of those for me where, do you want to go and spend £3 million on a 27, 28-year-old who, at the end of the day, is out of contract in 12 months and could move on? It's very similar to sort of the Callum Britton position, where he was out of contract in 12 months. Did we want to pay £3.5 million for a right back that, if he chose not to move, would have ended up at our club for free anyway, or would have ended up moving on for free in the summer? So it's one of those where you've sort of got to be very, very careful about how you sort of do the deals and things like that. I think the deal for Lewis Travis at £1.5 million with a year left on his contract is actually a really good deal. I understand why Blackburn want to maximise their money for him, and that is completely a-okay, because at the end of the day, if they lose everybody who's out of contract during this transfer window, then they're going to be in a real difficult position. And there's obviously a lot of difficult conversations going on for Blackburn Rovers fans at the moment. But for me, it's obviously one that's got to be worked on, and we've got to take our time with this one. I think this one will drag out till deadline day. Do I think Blackburn will give in at £1.5 million? I'm not entirely sure, but it will be interesting to see how much Derby do potentially budge on that bid that they've already seemed to have put in. And then obviously, finally, we've got the conversation topic of Koki Saito. Obviously, former QPR man. He was there last season where he was on loan for the year. I think he played 40 games, 3 goals, 2 assists, I think it was, if I remember rightly, and was obviously highly impactful for them, and numbers wise looked really good in terms of how effective he was for QPR. And I think the big conversation around Saito is that fee. Obviously, the rumoured market value for him is around £5 million. However, I don't necessarily believe Derby County will go and spend £5 million on Soto, if I'm completely honest. But it does seem as if Derby County are the ones leading the way on that one, which obviously sort of moves us in that right direction of getting a winger in the building. Obviously, Soto can play centrally as well. He can play left, centre and on the right. And I believe he can play as a number 8, but don't quote me on that one. I could be wrong. Which is obviously very good for Derby, because you want those extra bodies. You want those you want the players that can move around positions, so that, say if Saito's having a good game and Jackson isn't, for example, you can then move Saito onto the right, or as a sort of number 10 behind Morris, and bring someone else on the left. You can sort of make those changes within the game, which I think over the course of like last year and the year before, I don't necessarily think we had that. Don't get me wrong, obviously I think the main aim for Derby County is putting players in their strongest positions. Kane Wilson at right back, for example, like, he's massively impactful there. You look at Carlton Morris being your number 9. You look at, do you really want Ibu Adams as your number 10? In my personal opinion, the answer to that is no. But obviously, we're going to have to wait and see sort of how this develops across the course of the next few weeks and months. Obviously, we need to get this transfer window over and done with. Obviously, as I'm recording this video right now, it's about 1:30 on the 21st of August. So there's still a couple of weeks left in the transfer window, and it's going to be interesting to see where it does end up. Now, obviously, you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you think Derby County will seal all 3 deals of Johnston, of Travis and Koki Saito? You can obviously let me know that down in the comments. I am going to be live later on today at around 6 p.m. to discuss obviously the latest transfer news with Travis, with Soto, with obviously Max Johnston as well, and we're going to discuss anything and everything heading into the opening, well, the second home fixture of the season up against Bristol City in just a few days' time. Now, you can obviously let me know your thoughts down in the comments if you have not done so already. Check out NordVPN for your VPNs, check out Kitbag for all your kits and essentials, and check out CD Keys for all of your gaming needs. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and I'll catch you later on.